True crime, grapevine. I'm feeling fine because I'm almost through. All right, we're to case 8 in episode 43. My mega, I'm back, baby. All right. One thing that I have really hated is that we have these 3 major trials going on. And the interesting thing is everybody's like, things don't happen fast enough. But if you look at when things come to trial, all the crimes took place about around the same time. So in murder cases, I'm in front of her face. Do we care? It's Leticia. Sorry, Leticia. Or, I don't know, Maria or Jasmine or Harmony. Or it's funny. She made up names for her personalities like a little girl makes up pretty names for her dolls. I mean, when I've heard of, it used to be called multiple personalities. Now it's called dissociative disorder, whatever. It's the same idea that you split and become different people because of trauma. Yeah, their names kind of make sense with the very specific personalities. They have different voices. They take on the person is ashamed and they've had these issues for a long time, and it's not like just all of a sudden made up in some fanciful story about vampires. Oh my God, what am I talking about? Here we go. So Leticia Stauch's case is one of the only ones that is actually being televised so that you can see what's going on and can be broadcast afterwards in clips. Unlike our other 2 cases, the West Boys, Classic and Sincere Pruitt, if you're using their birth names, Orrin and Orson West. And also they're in 3 different states, but there's lockdowns on the California case in Kern County. That's the West case. And then the case in Idaho. No kidding, my private Idaho. Remember that because it's very private. Excuse me. Oh no. Oh no, Lori's hexed me. Sorry, she's not a witch. That gives witches bad names. All right. Speaking of bad names and giving them, Leticia. Her trial, I believe they thought it would go, did they say 8 weeks? I don't know. It's moving right along. They think the prosecution might rest after Monday. So it started, I believe, April 13th. Started the same day that all these 3 trials started about the same time. And almost all of them have also been taking these interesting days off, which I don't remember. I guess in long trials there's always a day off because courts need to have 1-day sessions, and it's just very interesting to me. But anyways, Leticia is not interesting to me. Why? Because she is bat guano crazy, but not in a legally defined way. So if you don't know the case, Leticia Stauch in 2020 January, I believe it was, on the 27th, unalived her stepson, but then came up, she just can't really lie very effectively. She came up with all these stories. Oh my gosh, you guys, and it's so depressing because Gannon was a premature baby who was a miracle baby, and his parents loved him, and the only reason he was in Leticia Stauch's care was that she had married his dad, but his dad was off doing his National Guard work, and normally then the mom would take her children, but she was pregnant, and like her other pregnancy, like with Gannon, she was having a rough time, so she was unable to care for them. They lived in South Carolina, which is where everybody moved from, so she had to trust Leticia. Leticia is not trustworthy, in my opinion, allegedly. Okay, so this is in Colorado Springs, Colorado. El Paso County is where Colorado Springs is located. A lot of crime happens there. It's really weird because it's a beautiful area. I don't know. Specifically in the Colorado Springs, a lot of these murder stories have happened there. It's a little cray. She lies. She hides his body. She does interviews where she's like, Gannon, come back home. I mean, complete and utter BS. She lies to her husband. She lies to police. Now, it is unclear if she lied or what she told her 17-year-old daughter, Harley. But Harley gets in the minivan with Gannon in the back in a suitcase. Supposedly, she didn't find it was weird that her mom had air conditioning on the whole drive. They drive to Florida, where Leticia stays in a hotel with Harley, and then 3 miles away, Gavin's body is found later on, months later, but under a bridge. And that bridge would be checked out every 2 years. So if that person wouldn't have checked it right then, if they would have been like months behind, he would have been there for 2 years before anybody would have found him. So if you want to talk about whatever, I'd say signs from God, but we're going to talk about Lori Vallow, and I don't want to get into signs from anybody because I don't hear God's voice, so I don't understand Lori. I definitely don't understand Leticia. But anyways, thank goodness that the timing was right, so that he was found. He was found later in March, I believe, so a couple months later. But Harley was with her in that hotel, and Harley was questioned on the stand. Somebody gave the the 6 key points to the trial so far. I really have a hard time watching it because it is so unbelievable. She started out, she tried to get away. Then once she was caught, she tried to get out of the paddy wagon that was taking her from one state to the next, because she got caught in South Carolina, where she was from. And then she acted nutso, but she had a public defender, and then she fired them. Then she was going to represent herself, and then that was all not guilty, and then she got a new public defender, and reason of insanity. And I swear, it's like she probably studied about it, but not, it's like she studies everything else not well enough, and so it's like a caricature of what somebody would think multiple personalities is. It's not actually how it goes. So, and anyways, let me tell you some of the crazy stuff she did. Number one, she flipped off some people. She was like, like nobody saw her. It is a televised trial, and the witness stand, and she's like, and the judge, actually, it was so many people, and a jury person complained to the judge that the judge had to address it like she was a 6-year-old sitting on the bench outside the principal's office. And he's like, you can't do that. It's disrespectful. If you continue, we can make sure that your chair doesn't swivel, so you can't point yourself and try to slyly. And then he's like, and if you continue, we can make sure that there's a bolt put to the defense table where we can make sure your handcuffs stay there, so you can, basically can't use your hands. I mean, and he's explaining to her why. And I'm like, dude, save your breath. She doesn't care. She's not about decorum or respect. She's about Leticia. Period. End of story. She's very, there's a book about the sociopath next door, and that's by Martha Stout, PhD. I've showed it to you before. Get that book. It talks about the fact that people who are maybe not clinically sociopaths, but there's this hair test, psychopaths, sociopaths, and Martha Stout uses both. She says they're kind of interchangeable. I mean, people do specify between, but basically it's this dark triad, but not everybody has bloodlust, and not all of them are brilliant. Some of them are quite stupid, and not all of them kill. Some of them just do stupid things. But they all think they're funny, and like nobody can see what they're doing. Aren't they tricky? Because it's like a self-aggrandizing. It's narcissistic. They can't see another person's point of view. They do not have empathy. They cannot. So everything's like a game. But some are smarter than others, but they all think they're smart. Leticia thinks she's smart. She thought she could talk through the interview and act and it's obvious that there's something wrong with her. Number one, she won't face the camera. That guy, that was one of the points. That guy, in that interview that we all saw on TV, if you were watching it, the interview with Wilson, the local TV guy. I mean, it was obvious she didn't want to show her face. And instead of really talking about Gannon, you know what she talked about? People weren't being fair to her. And they were all going to be sorry when Gannon came back. And they would find out that she, and A, it was all a lie. And B, it was all about her. That's not how somebody acts when a child is missing. So flipping people off and the judge having to talk to her. That weird interview was shown and the guy testified. the phone call recorded by, there was a number of phone calls that Al made with the help of police to try to get her to say she did something, because they knew she did something. And so he asked her, she had all these weird excuses, none of which were like, Maria did it, or I don't know why you're calling me Leticia, I'm Harmony. Like, she doesn't use any of that weird stuff that she's coming up with now. No, she talks like a child, like a preteen trying to get out of trouble, just making up an excuse. And it's really heartbreaking and sad. That poor guy. He'll never be right. And the testimony finding Gannon, how they found him. He had little football shoes on. He was so smushed in. It is so sad. It's like when they described JJ and Tylee. When you describe anybody's death, it is horrific, but especially children. Especially children in their pajamas. Oh my God, it's going to make me cry. It was a horrific moment. They played the interview. Okay, now, in the interview with the reporter, she even goes to her daughter, who was 17 at the time. No, Harley. She'll even say that she saw Gannon after the hike and blah, when it was all a lie. So now Harley talks in the same monotone voice and just says, I don't know. I was so afraid of my mom, and I didn't smell anything. And yeah, I thought it was weird but I just, she could backhand me. And quite frankly, my mom backhanded me once because I said the F word to her. I think every 15-year-old girl has been backhanded, probably. I hit each one of my kids one time because they said the F word to me, and I swear, was Leticia violent? I don't know. But Harley just talked, no offense, she talked just like Leticia. And I'll tell you in a minute why that freaks me out. But she went, at one point they were going to say she was an accomplice, but then I guess she agreed. They couldn't quite prove it. But it is weird. She lied for her mom about the excuse about where Gannon was. She drove with her, she was 17, drove with her across the country. And then she was like, yeah, she said we were going to Orlando because we were going to live there. But then they went back to Savannah, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach area where they were from. So I think they just needed Harley, because she was there, to say, yes, Leticia drove, yes, the air conditioning was on. But okay, I'll just tell you right now. There was a TikTok with Leticia's daughter right around, either right before or right after she was on the stand. And the TikTok is, she's real cute. She's in a car, which we found out I think her Aunt Becky bought, and then she tried to she got thrown out of her Aunt Becky's house. I wonder why. Dude, apple tree not far from. I'm just saying, because her mom is on trial for murdering, and she's on TikTok going, look at this cute outfit. Don't I look, it's like snatched. And I was going to Pilates, and I swear I was just a few minutes late, and they said I couldn't go in, and I just don't understand. But what a waste of a great outfit. And I'm like, okay, what is this reminding me of? Let's see. All About You. Inappropriate for the situation because your mom's on trial for murder, and it's all about you and how cute you look, and the big toe. Didn't understand the rules. How could it not apply to her? She was just a few minutes late. Why would the Pilates class, why wouldn't they let her come in late? Why isn't she special and different? I am telling you, the weird affect, the strange voice, the no emotion, talking about what is objectively a horrific thing her mom put her through. And she's like, well, I guess I was just afraid. But she didn't sound afraid. She didn't sound anything. And then that weird video. We'll be hearing more from her, I fear. I hope not. Harley, hope you get help. But we know a lot about parenting. I'm just saying. Look at Lori. Oh, that's a whole nother story. Okay, so the other big points were that the interview about the searches, oh my gosh, that she deleted on her phone. And we know about people deleting things on their phone and thinking it's gone. It's not gone. Nothing digital is ever gone. Anything you write digitally on your computer, on your phone, even probably things you say out loud nowadays, it's all in a cloud, on a motherboard, held somewhere. Digital never dies. Do not forget this, please. Don't try to scam the system. It won't work. And do not Google that shit. Do not Google your crimes, dodos. Or do. Please do. Please help the police. All right, yeah, she lied about that she Googled stuff and then deleted it, which they could see. How do you stop an arterial bleed? Because, she shot, I don't know what that was. She shot and stabbed poor Gannon and beat him. So, yeah, she wanted to know how to stop an arterial bleed. How about you freaking call 911? That's how you stop it. What a freak. She Googled something about hating her stepson or what to do when you hate your stepson and about getting divorced. So, yeah, she should have just done that. So we talked about the judge calling her out. Yeah, and I don't know. Those were the big things that Law and Crime thought were big moments in the trial. I can just tell you, and now she's into the multiple personality things. They said they think the prosecution's going to rest after Monday, and then the defense will start, and we're going to hear from whoever she scammed into believing she has multiple personalities. And here's the thing. The lady who was on Friday, I believe it was, or Thursday, the state's psychologist was saying not only, were these multiple personalities not described how multiple personalities, or it's known as dissociative disorder. Sorry, I'm just using the common person parlance. But she didn't have it before. It wasn't in evidence from anybody else. It doesn't just pop up. And regardless, this lady said, and this is what I agree, regardless, she still knew right from wrong. How do we know? At every turn, she lied, she deceived, she covered up, she hid. That means she knew it was wrong. That is not the definition of legal insanity. So, you know how they say, bye, Felicia? Let's all say it. After you like and subscribe, bye, Leticia. Cannot even with that girl. I'll tell you what happens. Hopefully we get a guilty plea nice and fast. Sorry. She's allegedly guilty. Now, this for these trials, because I can't cover everything, I am watching a lot of it, but I watched everything about the Vallow case. I watched a lot about, I'm catching up on the West case. I'll tell you about those sources. But for the Leticia case, the two sources I'd like to recommend to you, my main squeeze sources from the Vine, are, this is Linda. She is the host of It's a Crime, a YouTube channel. I will make sure that they are linked below in the description. All my main squeezes usually are. Let me just tell you, Linda has been following the Gannon Stauch case from the beginning. She is a Canadian true crime devotee, YouTuber, host. She gets into details. She loves patterns. She loves timelines. Follow It's a Crime. She is following this case. This is close to her heart. She is a mom of a boy. And as a boy mom, she is very passionate about this case. Gisela K, host of, if you watch True Crime, you probably know her. Here's the little Grizzly, and it's Grizzly without an E. It's Grizzly True Crime. She is in the Netherlands, but she's South African. I love her voice. She does very long streams. She does go back, though. I need to learn how to do this. And she chapters it, so you can go look for what you need. Highly recommend these two ladies. They are doing updates and about the Leticia Stauch case. The docket is playing it live, and that's Big E, and he's the docket on YouTube now. He has a channel, and he also is on Twitter under the docket at Chasing Papers 89. Yeah, and Ickadmel is watching the case live. He's got a great sense of humor. When I watch trials, though, I'll tell you, I tend to go with the more dry, academic. That's just me. But Iked Mel, if you know Mel, you know him. He's from Florida. He's a YouTuber who really knows what he's doing. He's very engaging. He makes things that are not fun. But you know, it depends on what your flavor is, how seriously something affects you. Like, not all cases affect, you know, they don't hit the same, and you don't want the same flavor all the time. It's like when you drink. Sometimes you're down for tequila. Sometimes, just a White Claw. Sometimes it's champagne. You can have different flavors different times. So please check out those YouTubers.